coffee shop on Marion Street had become Maya, Chun's sanctuary during her final semester at NYU. She claimed the corner table by the window every Tuesday and Thursday afternoon, spreading out her graphic design portfolio and losing herself in color palettes and typography while the autumn rain drummed against the glass. That particular Thursday in October, Maya was running on 3 hours of sleep and her third espresso of the day. Her senior capstone project was due in 2 weeks, and she'd spent the previous night redoing an entire campaign after her professor's devastating critique. Her eyes burned. Her hands trembled slightly as she adjusted the brightness. On her laptop screen, she didn't notice the woman approaching her table until it was 2. Late. Maya reached for her coffee cup at the exact moment the stranger stepped forward, and the collision was inevitable. The cup tipped, and Maya watched in horror as the entire contents, a full 16-ounce latte with extra foam, cascaded directly onto the woman's pristine white silk blouse. Oh my God. Maya shot to her feet, her chair screeching against the floor. I'm so sorry. I didn't see you. The woman stood frozen, arms held slightly away from her body, looking down at the spreading brown stain across her chest. She was striking, probably in her early 30s, with sharp cheekbones, dark hair pulled back in an elegant twist, and an expression that could freeze lava. She wore what was clearly an expensive suit, now ruined. I am so sorry, Maya stammered again, grabbing napkins from the dispenser and reaching forward, before realizing that dabbing at a stranger's chest was probably inappropriate. She thrust the napkins toward the woman instead. Please let me pay for the dry cleaning, or I'll buy you a new shirt. It's fine. The woman's voice was clipped, professional, cold as January wind. She took the napkins but didn't use them, still staring at the stain with an expression Maya couldn't quite read. Anger? Exhaustion? Resignation? It's not fine, Maya insisted, feeling heat rise to her cheeks. This is completely my fault. I wasn't paying attention. Please, I have some cash. I said it's fine. The woman's dark eyes finally lifted to meet Maya's, and for a brief second, something flickered there. Maya couldn't identify it, maybe just irritation, or maybe something else. Accidents happen. But her tone suggested this particular accident was one she could have done without. A barista appeared with a mop and more napkins. The woman accepted them with a tight smile that didn't reach her eyes, then turned and walked toward the bathroom without another word. Her heels clicking sharply against the tile floor. Maya sank back into her chair, her heart pounding. Other customers had gone back to their laptops and conversations, but she felt like everyone was still watching her. She looked at her own projects spread across the table, designs for a campaign about kindness and human connection, and wanted to laugh at the irony. The woman emerged from the bathroom 5 minutes later, her blouse still visibly stained but blotted, somewhat dry. She didn't look at Maya as she headed for the exit, phone already pressed to her ear, talking in rapid, authoritative tones about rescheduling a meeting. Maya sat there for another 20 minutes, unable to focus on her work, replaying the encounter in her mind. Something about the woman's face lingered, not just her beauty, though there was that, but something in her eyes during that brief moment of contact. A weariness that Maya recognized from her own mirror some mornings. That evening, Maya couldn't shake the feeling of guilt. She'd ruined a stranger's day, possibly ruined an expensive piece of clothing, and barely managed a coherent apology. The woman had been gracious about it, technically. But Maya knew that it's fine often meant, I don't have time to deal with this right now. She decided to do something about it. Maya spent an hour at her kitchen table that night, drafting and redrafting a note on her nicest cardstock. Her roommate, Jessica, watched from the couch with amusement. You're really doing this? Jessica asked, looking up from her phone. I have to, Maya said, crumpling her 4th attempt. I can't just let it go. She was so nice about it, and I was such a disaster. She's a stranger you'll never see again. That doesn't matter. It matters to me. The final note read, to the woman I baptized in coffee on Thursday, I am truly, deeply sorry for destroying your beautiful blouse and probably your entire day. There's no excuse for my carelessness. I was exhausted and distracted, but that's my problem, not yours. You were incredibly gracious when you had every right to be angry. I wanted to do more than just apologize in the moment, So I'm leaving this for you with the baristas at Marion Street Coffee along with a gift card to Nordstrom. I hope it's enough to replace what I ruined. I know this doesn't undo the inconvenience I caused you, but I hope it at least shows how sorry I'm. With sincere apologies. Maya Chunpiece, your suit was really stunning. You have excellent taste. She tucked a $200 Nordstrom gift card, basically her food budget for the month, into an envelope along with the note and sealed it. The next day, Maya returned to Marion Street Coffee during her lunch break and approached the counter nervously. Hi, she said to the barista. A guy with impressive sleeve tattoos named Derek. This is going to sound weird, but yesterday afternoon there was a woman here really put together. Dark hair, wearing a white blouse? I accidentally spilled coffee on her. Derek's face lit up with recognition. Oh man, yeah. That looked bad. It was. Listen, is there any chance she's a regular? I wanted to leave her this. Maya held up the envelope. An apology note and a gift card. Derek considered this. I don't know if I should, please, Maya said. I'm not asking for her name or number or anything creepy. I just want to apologize properly. If she comes back, could you give this to her? If she doesn't come back in like a month, you can just toss it. Derek studied her face for a moment, then smiled. You know what? Yeah, she comes in maybe once a week, usually Friday mornings. I'll hold on to this for her. Thank you so much. Maya felt a weight lift from her shoulders. Really, I appreciate it. She left the coffee shop feeling lighter than she had in days. Satisfied that she'd done what she could to make things right, then she promptly forgot about the entire incident. Buried under final projects, job applications, and the chaos of approaching graduation 3 months later, Maya stood in front of her bathroom mirror in her tiny Brooklyn apartment, adjusting her collar for the 5th time. First day at her first real job. She'd landed a junior designer position at Meridian Creative, one of the most prestigious design firms in New York City. And she was determined not to screw it up. You've got this, she told her reflection, trying to channel confidence she didn't quite feel. You earned this position. They chose you. The commute to Meridian's offices in Midtown felt surreal. Maya had interviewed here back in November, meeting with the creative director and 2 senior designers. The space had been everything she dreamed of: sleek, modern, AMD, filled with natural light and the energy of creative people doing work they loved. They'd made her an offer the next day. Now, riding the elevator to the 14th floor, Maya's stomach fluttered with nervous excitement. The doors opened to reveal the Meridian reception area, polished concrete floors, exposed brick, and the company's logo, a clean, geometric design in silver stretched across the wall. Maya-chan? The receptionist, a warm woman in her 50s, smiled at her. Welcome. I'm Linda. We're so glad you're here. Let me take you back to meet the team. Maya followed Linda through an open-plan office space where designers worked at standing desks with multiple monitors, their walls covered in mood boards and print samples. People looked up and smiled as she passed. It felt welcoming, creative, alive. We have our Monday morning all-hands in about 10 minutes, Linda explained. Usually the whole company gathers in the main conference room. You'll meet everyone, and our CEO will introduce new hires. Sound good? Perfect, Maya said, though her nerves kicked up another notch at the mention of meeting. Everyone at once. Linda showed her to her beautiful workspace near a window overlooking the city and gave her a quick rundown of the coffee station, bathrooms, and office protocols. Then it was time for the meeting. The conference room was already filling with people when Maya entered. She recognized a few faces from her interview and exchanged nervous smiles. Someone handed her a coffee. Someone else asked about her background. Everyone seemed genuinely friendly, which helped her relax slightly. All right, everyone. A voice called for attention from the front of the room. Let's get started. We've got a lot to cover and a busy week ahead. Maya turned toward the voice and felt her heart stop. Standing at the front of the room, sort of turning at the front of the voice, and felt her heart stop. Standing at the front of the voice and standing at the front of the room. Commanding attention in a sharp navy suit and radiating authority was the woman from the coffee shop. The woman Maya had drenched in coffee. The woman she'd apologized to 3 months ago in a note, her new CEO. The woman's eyes scanned the room as she began. speaking about quarterly goals and new client acquisitions. Professional, confident, completely in control. Maya couldn't breathe. Her face felt hot. This couldn't be happening. The CEO, what was her name? Why didn't Maya know her name? Moved through the agenda efficiently, her presence magnetic. People listened when she spoke. They laughed at her dry humor. They leaned forward when she outlined vision and strategy. Finally, I want to welcome our new team members who are starting this week. We have 3 new faces joining Meridian. Let's give them a warm welcome. Maya's heart hammered as the CEO read through the names. Joining our development team, we have Marcus Rodriguez coming to us from a great run at Sapphire Digital. Maya barely heard the details. She was too busy trying to calculate the odds that the CEO wouldn't remember her. It had been 3 months. It had been a brief encounter. Maybe in joining our design team as a junior designer, we have Maya Chen, who impressed us with her portfolio and her passion for user-centered design. Maya? Every eye in the room turned to her. The CEO's eyes found Maya's across the crowded conference room. And for a moment, just a fraction of a second, Maya saw recognition flash across her face. Then it was gone, replaced by professional warmth. Welcome to Meridian, Maya. We're excited to have you. Thank you, Maya managed, her voice somehow steady despite the panic coursing through her. I'm excited to be here. The meeting continued, but Maya couldn't focus on another word. She was acutely aware of the CEO's presence at the front of the room, of the possibility that at any moment she might say something about their previous encounter. Might embarrass Maya in front of the entire company, but she didn't. She finished the meeting professionally, asked if anyone had questions, then dismissed everyone to start their week. Maya tried to slip out quickly, but her supervisor, Kendra, caught her arm. Let me introduce you to some of the senior team, Kendra said warmly, including our fearless leader. Oh, that's okay, I don't want to. But Kendra was already guiding her toward the front of the room where the CEO stood talking with 2 other executives. Maya's palms were sweating. Vivian, Kendra said, and Maya finally had a name for the woman who had haunted her guilty conscience. I wanted to introduce you to Maya, our newest designer. Vivian Chen, no relation, despite the shared last name, turned to face them. And Maya found herself looking into those same dark eyes she remembered from the coffee shop. Up close, she could see the intelligence there, the sharpness, but also something guarded. We've met, Vivian said simply, extending her hand. Maya's heart sank. Here it came. Briefly at Marion Street Coffee last fall, Vivian continued, shaking Maya's hand with a firm professional grip. Though we weren't formally introduced. Right? Maya said, grateful that Vivian was being discreet. Yes, small world, indeed. Vivian's expression was neutral, impossible to read. Welcome to the team, Maya. I'm looking forward to seeing what you create here. Thank you, Miss Chen. Vivian is fine. The slightest hint of a smile touched Vivian's lips. We're not formal here. Then she turned back to her conversation with the executives. And Maya was free to escape with Kendra to learn about her first assignments. Maya made it through her first day, in a daze of orientation, system logins, and trying to memorize names. Every time she saw Vivian walking past in the hallway, visible through her glass-walled office, speaking with someone by the elevators, Maya's stomach clenched with anxiety. Had Vivian gotten the note and gift card? Did she think Maya was weird for leaving it? Was it inappropriate to have left such a personal apology for someone who turned out to be a high-powered CEO? These questions plagued Maya all day and followed her home that night. She barely tasted her dinner. Jessica, her roommate, noticed immediately. Okay, what's wrong? Jessica asked, putting down her fork. You've been staring at that pasta like it insulted your mother. Maya told her everything, the coffee shop incident, the note, and now discovering that the woman was her new CEO. Jessica's eyes grew wider with each detail. Oh my god, this is like a romance novel. It's not romantic, it's mortifying, Maya corrected. She's my boss's boss's boss. And I attacked her with coffee and then left her a weirdly personal note with a huge gift card. A note she apparently didn't mention to anyone, Jessica pointed out. If she was going to fire you over a coffee incident, she would have done it already. Or at least said something snarky in front of everyone. Maybe she's just being professional. Or maybe she thought your note was sweet. Jessica grinned. Did you write anything flirty in it? No, God, no. I just apologized and complimented her suit. You complimented her appearance. That's borderline flirty. It was not. Maya stopped, reviewing the note in her mind. Oh God, I did write that her suit was stunning. Do you think that was inappropriate? I think you're overthinking this, Jessica said gently. Just do your job, be professional, and let it go. If she hasn't brought it up, she's probably moved on. Maya wanted to believe that. She really did, but when she arrived at work the next morning, there was an envelope on her desk. Her name was written across it in elegant handwriting. No return address. No indication of who'd left it. Maya's hand shook slightly as she opened it. Inside was her Nordstrom gift card, unused, and a brief note on thick, expensive cardstock. Maya, thank you for your thoughtful apology, which was unnecessary but appreciated. I'm returning the gift card because, while I admire the gesture, I can't accept it from someone who works here. It wouldn't be appropriate. However, I did receive your note, and I want you to know that I never blamed you for an accident. We all have difficult days and moments of distraction. I hope yours have gotten better. Please consider the matter closed. I look forward to working with YOUV Chum. Maya read it 3 times, analyzing every word. The tone was warm but professional. The gesture of returning the gift card was principled but not harsh. And the acknowledgement that she'd received the original note meant what? That she'd kept it? That she'd thought about it? Everything okay? Kendra appeared at Maya's desk with a bright smile. Ready to dive into your first real project? Maya quickly tucked both notes into her bag. Absolutely. What are we working on? The day unfolded in a flurry of activity. Kendra assigned Maya to help with designs for a new app targeting young professionals. Maya lost herself in the work, grateful for the distraction, and by the end of the day, she produced 3 concept sketches that Kendra praised enthusiastically. These are great, Kendra said, reviewing Maya's work on her monitor. Really strong sense of user flow. I want to show these to Vivian tomorrow. She likes to be involved in the early stages of our bigger projects. Maya's stomach dropped. Tomorrow? Yeah, we have a weekly check-in with her every Wednesday morning. You'll come with me to present these concepts. Don't worry, Kendra added, seeing Maya's expression. She's tough but fair. If your work is good, she recognizes it. That night, Maya stayed up late refining her designs, adjusting color palettes, tweaking typography. She told herself it was just normal dedication to a new job, but she knew the truth. She wanted to impress Vivian. Wanted to prove that she was more than the clumsy person who'd ruined her blouse. The Wednesday meeting was scheduled for 9 a.m. in Vivian's office. Maya arrived with Kendra, her portfolio under her arm. Trying to project confidence she didn't feel. Vivian's office was exactly what Maya would have expected: sophisticated, minimalist, with carefully chosen art on the walls and a massive window overlooking the city. Vivian sat behind a glass desk, reading something on her laptop, and when they entered, she looked up and smiled. Good morning, Kendra, Maya. Her eyes lingered on Maya for just a moment longer. What have you brought me? Kendra launched into an overview of the project, then turned it over to Maya to present her concepts. Maya's nervousness evaporated as she fell into the familiar rhythm of explaining her design choices, walking Vivian through user personas and the emotional journey she wanted to create. Vivian listened intently, asking sharp questions that showed she understood design principles deeply. She challenged some of Maya's choices. Why this color instead of that one? Had she considered how this element would scale on different screen sizes? But in a way that felt like genuine curiosity rather than criticism. I like what you've done here, Vivian said finally, leaning back in her chair. The user flow is intuitive and the aesthetic is fresh without being trendy. My only concern is this section. She pointed to one of Maya's screens. The hierarchy feels off. I'm not sure where my eye is supposed to go first. Maya looked at the design with fresh eyes and immediately saw what Vivian meant. You're right. I can adjust the weight of these elements, make the primary action clearer. Good, I'd like to see the revision by end of week, if possible. This is strong work, Maya. Vivian met her eyes directly, and Maya saw approval there. Keep this up. Thank you, Maya said, warmth spreading through her chest. I will. The weeks that followed fell into a rhythm. Maya threw herself into her work with an intensity that surprised even her. She stayed late most nights, refining designs, studying the company's past campaigns, learning everything she could. Kendra praised her dedication. Her fellow designers started asking for her input on their projects, and several times a week. Working late into the evening, Maya would look up from her desk to find Vivian's office still lit, her silhouette visible through the glass as she worked. They were both workaholics. Apparently, one Thursday evening in early March, Maya was alone in the design area, wrestling with a particularly difficult layout problem. It was nearly 8 p.m. Most people had left hours ago. She was so absorbed in her work that she didn't notice Vivian approaching until she heard her voice. "You're here late." Maya jumped, then turned to find Vivian standing a few feet away, jacket off, looking tired but curious. "I could say the same to you," Maya replied before she could think better of it. Vivian smiled slightly. "Fair point. What are you working on?" Maya explained the project, a rebranding campaign for a nonprofit, and the challenge she was facing with balancing multiple stakeholder priorities in the visual identity. Vivian stepped closer, studying Maya's monitor. "May I?" "Of course." Vivian took Maya's mouse and made a few quick adjustments, moving elements, adjusting spacing. "What if you approached it like this? Keep the elements they requested, but unify them with this underlying structure." Maya watched, fascinated by how quickly Vivian worked, how instinctively she understood the problem. That's brilliant. I was so focused on the individual pieces that I missed the bigger picture." "That's easy to do when you're deep in the details," Vivian said, stepping back. "Sometimes you just need fresh eyes." "Thank you, really." Vivian nodded, then hesitated, as if deciding whether to say something. "You're doing excellent work, Maya. Kendra's told me you've been an asset to the team." "I'm trying," Maya said. "I really love it here." "I'm glad." Vivian's expression softened. "But don't burn yourself out. This job will take everything you give it and ask for more. You have to set boundaries." "Says the person who's here at 8 p.m., Maya pointed out, then immediately worried she'd overstepped. But Vivian laughed, a genuine, warm laugh that transformed her face. "Do as I say, not as I do?" "Something like that." They stood there for a moment, the office quiet around them, the city lights twinkling through the windows. Maya was acutely aware of how close Vivian was standing, of the faint scent of her perfume, something elegant and subtle. "I should let you get back to work," Vivian said finally. "But seriously, Maya, don't stay too much longer." "It'll still be here tomorrow." "I won't." "Thank you again for the help." Vivian nodded and walked back toward her office. And Maya sat down feeling like something had just shifted, though she couldn't quite name what. After that night, their late evening encounters became more frequent. Sometimes it was just a passing "still here?" in the hallway. Other times, Vivian would stop by Maya's desk and they'd talk about whatever project Maya was working on. Maya learned that Vivian had founded Meridian 8 years ago, after leaving a larger agency where she felt creatively stifled. She'd built the company from nothing, and every person here was someone she'd personally chosen. "That's a lot of pressure," Maya observed during one of these conversations. "Knowing everyone's livelihood depends on the decisions you make." "It is," Vivian admitted. They were in the break room, both grabbing water before heading back to work. "Some nights I don't sleep while thinking about it. But it's also what makes it meaningful. These aren't just employees to me. They're people I care about, whose talents I believe in." "Is that why you returned my gift card?" Maya asked, the question slipping up before she could stop it. Vivian looked at her, surprise flickering across her face. "Partially. I couldn't accept a substantial gift from an employee, even before you were technically employed here. It wouldn't have been right, but you kept the note." Maya wasn't sure where this boldness was coming from. Maybe it was the late hour. Maybe it was the way Vivian had started to feel less like an untouchable CEO and more like a person. Vivian was quiet for a moment. "I did keep the note. Why?" "Because..." Vivian set down her water bottle, choosing her words carefully. "Because it was one of the kindest gestures anyone has shown me in a long time. You ruined a blouse I didn't particularly care about and then spent what I'm guessing was money you couldn't easily spare to make it right, even though I told you it was fine. That said something about your character." Maya felt heat rise to her cheeks. It was the least I could do. Most people wouldn't have done even that. Vivian met her eyes. It's part of why I was pleased when HR told me you'd accepted our offer. Anyone who cares that much about a stranger is someone I want on my team. The air between them felt charged with something Maya didn't want to examine too closely. This was her boss. This was wildly inappropriate. And yet, I should get back to work, Vivian said, breaking the moment. Good night, Maya, good night. Maya watched her go, her heart racing. Spring arrived in New York with the usual mixture of rain and sudden warm days. Maya had been at Meridian for 3 months and felt like she'd found her place. Her designs were being featured in major campaigns. Kendra had started giving her more responsibility. Other designers sought her feedback, and she saw Vivian. Almost every day it was becoming a problem, not because Vivian was anything but professional she was. She treated Maya exactly the same as every other employee, with respect, high expectations, and appropriate distance. Their late-night conversations had continued, but they stayed safely on topics like design, the industry, company strategy. The problem was that Maya had developed a crush on her boss, a serious, inconvenient, completely impossible crush. She tried to talk herself out of it, reminded herself daily of all the reasons this was a terrible idea. Vivian was her CEO. Vivian was at least 10 years older. Vivian had given zero indication that she was interested in women, or in Maya specifically, beyond professional appreciation for her work. But none of that stopped Maya's heart from racing when Vivian smiled at her. Didn't stop her from looking forward to those late evening encounters. Didn't stop her from noticing details, the way Vivian tucked her hair behind her ear when she was concentrating. The rare times her professional mask slipped and real emotion showed through. The elegant line of her neck, the intelligence in her eyes. You've got it bad. Jessica observed one night over dinner. Maya had made the mistake of mentioning Vivian one too many times. I don't have anything, Maya protested weakly. Please. You talk about her constantly. Vivian said this, Vivian did that. Vivian's vision for the company is so inspiring. It's like you're a teenager with a crush. I'm not. Maya stopped. Okay, fine. Maybe I have a small crush. But it doesn't matter. Nothing is going to happen. Why not? Because she's my boss. Because she's completely out of my league. Because I have no idea if she's even into women. She's never mentioned a husband or boyfriend, Jessica pointed out. That doesn't mean anything. She's private about her personal life. Maya pushed her food around her plate. And even if she was into women, even if she was single, even if by some miracle she was interested, which she's definitely not, it would be completely inappropriate. She's the CEO, I'm a junior designer. That power dynamic is complicated, Jessica finished. Yeah, I get it. But Maya, life is short. And I've never seen you let up talking about anyone the way you do when you talk about her. That's because I've never really dated seriously, Maya said. I've had a few relationships, but nothing that felt like this. Exactly. This feels different because it is different. Jessica reached across the table and squeezed Maya's hand. I'm not saying you should march into her office and declare your feelings. But maybe don't write it off completely. See what happens. Maya wanted to argue, but she also knew Jessica was right about one thing: this did feel different. She'd never felt this magnetic pull toward anyone before. In late April, Vivian announced at the Monday meeting that several team members would be attending the National Design Conference in Boston the following month. Maya's name was on the list. It's a great opportunity for professional development, Vivian explained. The company will cover all expenses. I'll be there as well, along with Kendra and a few others from different departments. Maya's first thought was excitement about the conference. She'd wanted to attend for years but couldn't afford it as a student. Her second thought was 3 days in Boston with Vivian. The conference arrived quickly. Maya packed nervously, triple-checking that she had business cards, her portfolio, professional outfits. The Meridian group was taking the train together Friday morning. Vivian boarded last, looking elegant in dark jeans and a cashmere sweater, more casual than Maya had ever seen her. She'd pulled her hair into a loose ponytail and wore minimal makeup. She looked younger, more relaxed, and Maya had to force herself not to stare. The train ride took 4 hours. Maya sat with Kendra and two other designers discussing which sessions they wanted to attend. But she was hyper-aware of Vivian several rows back, working on her laptop, occasionally glancing up to take in the passing scenery. The conference hotel was beautiful, a historic building near Boston Common. The Meridian group checked in together, and Maya discovered that due to a booking mix-up, she was on the same floor as Vivian, just 3 rooms down the hall. Is that weird? She asked Kendra as they headed to their rooms to drop off luggage. Why would it be weird? Kendra looked genuinely confused. I don't know. Feels strange to be staying so close to the CEO. Vivian's not big on hierarchy outside the office, Kendra said. She's probably already forgotten which room is which. See you in the lobby in 20 for the opening reception? Yeah, see you then. Maya's room was small but nice, clean lines, comfortable bed, view of the city. She changed into a professional dress and cardigan, touched up her makeup, and headed downstairs. The opening reception was crowded with designers from across the country. Maya networked dutifully, collecting business cards and learning about different companies' approaches to design challenges. She saw Vivian across the room several times. Always surrounded by people, always poised and professional. Then, during a lull in conversations, Vivian appeared at Maya's elbow. Surviving okay? Vivian asked with a slight smile. Yeah, actually. I've met some interesting people. Good. Have you eaten? The food here is mediocre, but there's a great Italian place 2 blocks away if you're interested in actual dinner. Maya's heart skipped. Are you asking me to dinner? I'm asking several people to dinner, Vivian clarified, and Maya felt simultaneously relieved and disappointed. Kendra and Marcus are coming, one of the senior developers. Thought you might want to join us. Oh, yes, that sounds great. The group dinner was wonderful, good food, easy conversation, lots of laughter. Vivian was different outside the office, more relaxed. She told stories about her early days building the company, made self-deprecating jokes, and showed genuine interest in everyone's lives. Maya found herself sitting next to Vivian through some quirk of musical chairs as people arrived at the restaurant. Their arms brushed occasionally as they reached for bread or wine. Maya was acutely conscious of every point of contact. Over tiramisu and espresso, the conversation turned to design philosophy. I think the best design is invisible, Marcus was saying. Users shouldn't notice it, they should just have a seamless experience. I disagree, Maya said, surprising herself by jumping in. I think the best design is felt. It should create an emotional response, even if the user can't articulate why they love using something. Interesting distinction, Vivian said, turning to look at Maya directly. Say more about that. Maya elaborated, growing more passionate as she explained her philosophy about how design could create connection and meaning. Vivian listened intently, asking questions, challenging certain points, but in a way that felt like genuine intellectual engagement rather than criticism. The rest of the table had moved on to another conversation, but Maya and Vivian were locked in their own discussion, leaning toward each other, the restaurant noise fading into background static. You really love this, Vivian observed. Design. The whole creative process, I do, Maya said. Don't you? I used to. Vivian's expression turned thoughtful. Running a company is different than being a designer. I spend most of my time on finances, HR issues, business development. I miss the actual creative work sometimes. You could still do it, Maya suggested. Take on a project here and there, maybe. Vivian smiled, but there was something wistful in it. Maybe I will. They walked back to the hotel as a group, the spring night cool but pleasant. In the lobby, everyone said goodnight and headed to their rooms. Maya and Vivian ended up in the elevator together, alone. Thanks for inviting me to dinner, Maya said as the elevator climbed. That was really nice. I'm glad you came. Vivian leaned against the elevator wall, looking tired but content. You're good company. Maya, tonight reminded me why I started this company in the first place. The joy of working with talented people who actually care about what they create. The elevator dinsed at their floor. They walked down the hall in comfortable silence until they reached Maya's door first. Good night, Maya said. See you tomorrow? Bright and early for the keynote, Vivian confirmed. Then impulsively, she reached out and briefly touched Maya's arm. Sleep well? The touch was brief, professional, could have meant nothing. But Maya felt it like an electric current all the way to her room. She lay in bed for hours that night, staring at the ceiling, replaying every moment of the evening, trying not to read too much into a simple touch. A nice dinner, good conversation. Failing completely. The conference continued through the weekend. Maya attended sessions, took notes, networked. But her real focus was on the moments with Vivian passing each other in hallways, sitting 2 rows apart during presentations, catching each other's eyes across crowded rooms. Sunday afternoon, the final day, there was a break between sessions. Maya wandered into the hotel bar and found Vivian sitting alone at a corner table, staring at her phone with a frustrated expression. "Everything okay?" Maya asked, approaching carefully. Vivian looked up, and Maya saw real stress in her eyes. "Client emergency. They're threatening to pull a major contract over creative differences. I'm trying to manage it remotely, but..." She gestured helplessly at her phone. "Can I help?" "I don't think so, but thanks." Vivian set down her phone. "Sometimes I hate this part of the job. The politics. The egos. Do you want to talk about it? Or do you want to talk about literally anything else as a distraction?" Vivian considered this, then smiled slightly. "Distraction sounds good. Sit." With me, Maya sat and they talked about the conference, the sessions they'd attended, the future of design. Gradually, Vivian's tension eased. She ordered a glass of wine. Maya got a coffee. They stayed there through the break and into the next session they were both supposed to attend. "We're missing the panel on emerging technologies," Maya pointed out. "I know." Vivian didn't move. "This is better." Something in the way she said it made Maya's breath catch. She studied Vivian's face, the intelligence in her eyes, the slight softness around her mouth that hadn't been there when Maya first met her. "Can I ask you something?" Maya said, emboldened by the intimacy of the moment. "Of course. Why did you really keep my note? The one from the coffee shop." Vivian was quiet for a long moment. "Because you saw me," she said finally. "Not the CEO, not the successful businesswoman. Just me, a person having a bad day who needed a small kindness. That's rare in my life. I'm sure people are kind to you all the time. People are professional, respectful, sometimes friendly. But there's always an agenda, or at least an awareness of my position. You didn't know who I was. You just saw someone you'd accidentally hurt, and you wanted to make it right." Vivian met Maya's eyes. "That's different." Maya's heart was pounding. "I see you now, do you?" "I think so. I see someone brilliant and driven who works too hard and cares too much about the people who depend on her. I see someone who gave up doing what she loves to build something bigger than herself. I see someone who's a little lonely even though she's surrounded by people every day." Vivian's expression was unreadable. "That's very perceptive. Am I wrong?" "No." The word was barely a whisper. "You're not wrong." They sat there, the air between them charged with everything they weren't saying. Maya wanted to reach across the table, take Vivian's hand, close the distance between them. But she couldn't. Vivian was still her boss. This was still impossible. "We should probably get back," Vivian said, though she didn't move. "Probably." Neither of them stood. "Maya," Vivian started, then stopped. "This is complicated." "I know. You work for me. There are rules, policies, and beyond that, there's a power dynamic that..." "I know," Maya said again. "I understand all of that." "Do you?" Vivian's eyes searched hers. "Because I've been trying very hard to maintain appropriate boundaries, but you make it difficult." Maya's breath caught. "I make it difficult?" "You're talented and passionate, and you let up when you talk about your work. You stay late because you care, not because you're trying to impress anyone. You see things other people miss." Vivian's voice was soft but intense. "And yes, Maya, you make it very difficult to remember all the reasons I should keep my distance. What if..." Maya had to force the words out. "What if we didn't want to keep our distance? Then we'd be making a mistake." But Vivian's eyes said something different. "I'm your boss. You're just starting your career. This could hurt you professionally. It could hurt both of us. Or it could be worth it." Vivian stood abruptly. "I need to go check on that client situation. I'll see you on the train tomorrow, Maya." She left before Maya could respond, and Maya sat alone at the table, her coffee going cold, wondering if she'd just ruined everything. The train ride back to New York was torture. Vivian sat in a different car, avoiding Maya. Kendra chattered about the conference, but Maya could barely focus on the conversation. She'd crossed a line. She'd made Vivian uncomfortable. She'd probably destroyed their professional relationship and possibly her job when they arrived at Penn Station. Everyone headed off in different directions. Maya walked to the subway alone, her suitcase bumping behind her, feeling like the weekend had been both the best and worst few days of her life. She spent Monday morning working from home, claiming she needed to catch up on projects. Really, she was too anxious to face Vivian in the office. But by Tuesday, she couldn't avoid it anymore. The office felt normal people working, conversations happening, the usual Tuesday energy. Maya settled at her desk and tried to focus on a logo redesign. But her attention kept drifting to Vivian's office, where the door was closed. The blinds drawn dot at 11. Her phone buzzed with a message from Vivian's assistant. Vivian would like to see you in her office. Available now, Maya's stomach dropped. This was it. She was getting fired for inappropriate conduct. She torpedoed her dream job over a crush. She walked to Vivian's office on shaking legs and knocked on the door. "Come in," Vivian's voice called. Maya entered to find Vivian standing by the window, her back to the door. She didn't turn around immediately. "Close the door, please." Maya did, her heart hammering. Vivian finally turned to face her. She looked tired, like she hadn't slept well. "We need to talk about Sunday." "I know. I'm sorry if I made you uncomfortable. I was out of line and let me finish." Vivian's voice was gentle but firm. "I've been thinking about what you said, about whether something could be worth the risk. And I've been thinking about the policies we have in place, about professional ethics, about power dynamics and appropriate workplace relationships." "I understand," Maya said, trying to keep her voice steady. "You're absolutely right. It was inappropriate for me to suggest." "Maya, please let me finish." Vivian stepped closer. "I've thought about all of those things. And I've also thought about the fact that I haven't been able to stop thinking about you for months. Since long before you started working here, if I'm honest." Maya's breath stopped. "I've thought about how alive I feel during our conversations," Vivian continued. "How you've reminded me why I fell in love with design in the first place. How every time you smile at something I've said, I want to find ways to make you smile again." She paused. "And I've thought about the fact that what I feel for you is not appropriate for a boss to feel about an employee, no matter how mutual it might be." "It is mutual," Maya whispered. "I know. That makes it more complicated, not less." Vivian's eyes were intense. "If we do this, if we explore whatever this is between us, we have to do it right." "Which means changes." "What kind of changes?" "I spoke with our head of HR this morning, hypothetically." Vivian's lips quirked slightly. "About what policies exist around relationships between employees at different levels. The answer is that they're not forbidden, but they must be disclosed. And usually we restructure reporting lines to eliminate the direct power dynamic." "You want to restructure my reporting?" Maya's mind was reeling. "If we decide to pursue this, you would report to Marcus instead of Kendra. He's at the same level, so your growth opportunities wouldn't be affected. Kendra knows you're doing excellent work. She'd support the change. It would be explained as a reorganization of the design team." Vivian stepped closer. "And I would recuse myself from any decisions about your compensation, promotion, or job status. Those would go through Marcus and HR." "You've really thought this through." "I've thought about little else for 48 hours. Vivian reached out slowly, giving Maya time to pull away, and took her hand. "But I want to be clear, this is only if you want it. If the complications are too much, if you'd rather maintain our professional relationship as it is, I will understand and respect that. Nothing changes if that's what you choose." Maya looked down at their joined hands, then back up at Vivian's face. "And if I choose this?" "Choose you? Then we try, carefully, ethically, with full transparency to the people who need to know." Vivian's thumb brushed across Maya's knuckles. "And we see if this thing between us is as real as it feels." "It feels pretty real to me," Maya said, her voice shaking slightly. "To me, too." Vivian smiled, a real smile, full of warmth and hope and something that looked like joy. "So what do you say, Maya-chan? Want to take a risk with me?" Maya thought about everything that had brought them here: a spilled coffee, a heartfelt apology, months of late nights, and meaningful conversations. She thought about how Vivian made her feel seen in a way no one else ever had. How she came alive when they talked. How right this felt despite all the complications. Yes, she said. Yes, I want to take that risk. Vivian's smile widened and she pulled Maya closer, still respectful, still careful, but unmistakably intentional. Then we have some conversations to have with HR. But after that, I'd very much like to take you to dinner. A real dinner. Just the two of us. I'd like that too. Maya felt like her heart might burst. When should we tell people? HR today. The necessary restructuring will happen this week. And then, Vivian considered, we'll be discreet but honest. This is a professional environment, but we're also human beings. People will understand that, and if they don't, then we handle it together. Vivian squeezed her hand. But Maya, I need you to be sure. Once we do this, there's no taking it back. Your career might face scrutiny. People might make assumptions. It could get difficult. I'm sure, Maya said without hesitation. I've never been more sure of anything. Okay then. Vivian released her hand reluctantly. I'll set up the meeting with HR for this afternoon. And Maya? Yes? Thank you. For what? For spilling coffee on me, Vivian said with a slight laugh. For being brave enough to leave that note. For seeing me. All of it. Maya grinned. Well, when you put it that way, I guess my clumsiness was good for something. The best thing, Vivian said softly. Now go, we both have work to do. But tonight we start figuring out what this is. Maya left Vivian's office feeling like she was floating. Kendra looked up as Maya passed her desk. Everything okay? You look different. Everything's great, Maya said, unable to stop smiling. Really great. The coffee shop on Marion Street was exactly as Maya remembered, its same corner table by the window. Same barista with impressive sleeve tattoos. Same comforting smell of espresso and baked goods. I can't believe you wanted to come back here, Vivian said. Sliding into the seat across from Maya with 2 lattes carefully balanced and nowhere near spilling. Scene of the crime. Scene of the beginning, Maya corrected, reaching across the table to take Vivian's hand. 6 months into their relationship, the gesture felt natural. Everything good started here. I suppose that's one way to look at it. Vivian's smile was soft. Though I maintain that my dry cleaning bill was excessive. I paid for your dry cleaning. After I refused your gift card, yes. They'd had this playful argument a dozen times. It had become their own private joke. Around them, the coffee shop hummed with activity. Students hunched over laptops. Couples shared pastries. The world went on, everyone absorbed in their own stories. Unaware that at this very table 6 months ago, a clumsy collision had started something beautiful. The transition at work had been smoother than Maya feared. Marcus had been her new supervisor for 5 months now and was excellent. Some people had figured out about her relationship with Vivian. It was hard to hide the way they looked at each other sometimes, but everyone had been professional about it. If there was gossip, it never reached Maya's ears, and her work had only gotten better. With the pressure of her crush removed, with the relationship out in the open and properly structured, Maya felt free to be fully creative. Her designs were being featured in major publications. Clients specifically requested her. Kendra had told her last week that she was on track for a promotion to senior designer, but the best part wasn't the career success. It was this sitting across from Vivian on a Tuesday afternoon, their hands linked on the table, talking about everything and nothing. It was the quiet mornings in Vivian's apartment, making breakfast together. It was the way Vivian had slowly opened up about her past, her fears, her dreams. It was discovering that beneath the professional exterior was someone funny and passionate and deeply kind. What are you thinking about? Vivian asked, studying Maya's face. How lucky I am. Because you spilled coffee on exactly the right person? Because I worked up the courage to apologize properly. Maya squeezed Vivian's hand. Because you kept my note. Because you gave me a chance despite all the very good reasons not to. I'm the lucky one, Vivian said seriously. You reminded me what it feels like to really connect with someone. To be seen, to feel. She paused, choosing her words carefully. To feel like myself again. I love you, Maya said. They'd been saying it for 2 months now, but it still felt new and wonderful every time. I love you too. Vivian raised Maya's hand to her lips and kissed her knuckles. My clumsy, thoughtful, brilliant girl. Your spill-prone girlfriend, Maya teased. Please don't spill anything on me today. No promises. They sat there for another hour, finishing their coffee, making plans for the weekend, enjoying the rare luxury of being together outside of work with nowhere they needed to be. When they finally left, Maya glanced back at the table where everything had started. Thank you, she said to Vivian. For what? For being gracious when I ruined your day. For keeping my note. For taking a chance on me first as an employee, then as something more. For all of it. Vivian pulled Maya close right there on the sidewalk, unconcerned with who might see, and kissed her forehead. Thank you for being brave enough to apologize. For seeing past my professional mask. For being patient while I figured out what I wanted. For being exactly who you are. They walked hand in hand down Marion Street, the autumn leaves just starting to turn, the city alive around them. Maya thought about all the small moments and choices that had led them here, a moment of clumsiness. A sincere apology, a kept note, late nights at the office. One honest conversation in a hotel bar. Love, she learned, sometimes started in the most unexpected ways. Sometimes it began with spilled coffee and a ruined blouse. Sometimes it required patience and careful navigation of complicated professional boundaries. Sometimes it meant being brave enough to take a risk on something that felt impossible. But always, it was worth it.